Let me begin with a quick recap like I have with all the other videos. I don't know how much of a gap you take between one video to the next, and still, or yet it does help in having a overview of what we are doing. We started out with the basics of brand strategy, then we got into how to tackle ongoing strategy requirements for a brand or business, and then I got into specifics. Like in the last video, I spoke about what makes a good creative brief and also differentiated what a creative brief is vis-a-vis a client brief. In this one, I'm going to get into research. Research is very foundational to everything a brand strategist does. Everything that we think, ideate, recommend is because of the knowledge that we have. Brand strategists need to know more about more. There is a brand strategist who claims to be not interested in things other than just advertising or other than just brand strategist is by definition a limited brand strategist, because to build brands you need to connect with consumers better in creative ways, and for that you need to just have a wide knowledge base, and it's all right, it builds over time. When I started out at 21, I didn't have that great a knowledge, and when I talk about knowledge, I mean knowledge beyond our domain, our brand, our business at hand, but just knowledge about books, music, history, culture, people of the world. There are lots of things, and it builds over time. It's not that you have to study like you're preparing for a public exam, but you just have to develop a keenness and an interest, and over the years you just develop and you follow all these different domains and talk to people, make friends with people who outside of your echo chamber to develop a larger, wider perspective. Let me now come to research for advertising. So when we are when we are using research for brand strategy, it is necessary to cover every aspect. You would say broadly that it is, or simplistically, that you just need to understand the consumer. Yes, you need to understand the consumer, but it has to go beyond that. It has to go, like in the brief I have said, you need the consumer context, consumer culture, where the consumer has grown up, and by consumer I mean the target audience. It's us as well. It's you and me are consumers as much as people are consumers. So we have to shed the us versus them approach to things and look at it as us, because today consumers are our allies. Consumers are allies with the brands, and just like that, brands and strategists are allies. The selling mentality has to go, because when the selling mentality goes is when we minimize cheating, looking for loopholes. I am saddened to say that a lot of agencies, even the leading global number one companies, indulge very openly in fudging research just to sell an idea or sell a strategy to the client, and it's just cheating and it devalues the value of what a strategist can bring to the table. It's a complex situation which was created by the previous generations of advertisement, where we feel, it's natural to fall in love with our own creative idea, and then you're not open to considering or researching it genuinely, and instead just trying to force fit it and sell it. And sometimes it is a hit or miss, but there is a merit in it's not about researching the idea per se. That may or may not work, but where the idea came from has to be researched. There are many methods of researching. There is the all famous and well-known something called focus group discussions. I can get into an entire different course on research, but right now I'm going to cover it broadly, skim through the basics. So there is focus group discussions where you have a discussion guide, not a questionnaire or a survey, but a discussion guide where you have main discussion topics that you want to discuss and glean insights and knowledge from. So there is focus group discussions, there is one-on-one interviews. Again, it has to be done by a very intuitive person with an understanding of listening to people, asking questions, talking less and listening more. There are a lot of things which go into one-on-one research as well, and there are, you can get creative with how you do research, and it's very important. So that is one. But so there is, you research the consumer, but another kind of research which is really important is also researching as the consumer, so being what they call a mystery shopper. But whichever brands you work on, it is imperative that you use that brand or product at least briefly to experience what you're selling. And if you don't use the product that you're selling, then there's something wrong, right? Especially in today's time, in the new age, in the new digital age, that mismatch will show. So you, be it a product which is not your favorite or gives you allergies, you should know the experience of it, be it a service, be it a be it a product that you're using, you going to seeing how you buy it. If it's a service, the whole experience of what it's like to be a customer. So there's a research as the customer, there's research of the customer, and you then also, there's the other anthropological, like how the product is displayed, be it online, like when you're searching. So then digital marketing comes into play, like how much it shows on Google and how much of content is there. Or if it is offline, how is it displayed in the store on the shelves? That research needs to be done. So there are, and then there's the other research which zooms out a little beyond this little world and goes to the larger cultural nuances and things about how so all these things together forms a strategy planner's research data. It's mostly qualitative. We do refer to reports which have been published or made public, or reports that we may or may not buy from, depending on the monies that our company has. But we do refer to reports for larger data, but a brand strategist's role is very much to do our own qualitative research to corroborate that, or to see where, because there are nuances which come in a qualitative research, that data driven research has its own role to play. But we need first-hand understanding of how these things work. Are Gen Z savvy with money or not? This is an area that you can read endless reports but ignore the Gen Z people in your office. So I've seen people do that. But a brand strategist needs to be observational, needs to question things, needs to be full of what ifs and have hypotheses. That's the formal way when you do, an academician follows research. They start with an hypothesis to prove or disprove it with research. But brand strategists need to be creative with all of this and work in a certain way. So, okay, one of my lights has gone out, but I think I have explained what research is. So this is the kind of research. I'll do an entirely different course on the kinds of research methodologies and how it applies to the work we do and how it applies to the creative process. But I just want to say, research is something that aids our creative ideation. When it is used to sell an idea or fudge reports to, or fudge consumer quotes just to sell an idea, that is not research. And it's really sad if strategy planners are made to do that. But we are talking about we are doing this course, you are watching this, you are learning from me, and I am putting this course out with the understanding of the value that brand strategy and strategy brings to the table for building businesses, building brands, and building great creative work. Cheers. In the next video, I will talk about brainstorming. So brainstorming is favorite activity within creative agencies, but it is not always done right, and it is not, very rarely, productive. And I want to talk about, from my experiences, what makes a brainstorm truly productive. So that's going to be my next video. Now, cheers.